Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Muthoot Finance Q3 FY21 results conference call hosted by ICICI Securities Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Kunal Shah from ICICI Securities Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Asha, and good evening, everyone. This is Kunal Shah from ICICI Securities. Today we have with us Mr. George Alexander Muthoot, Managing Director, and Mr. Oommen K. Mammen, Chief Financial Officer from Muthoot Finance, to discuss their Q3 and 9 months FY21 earnings, and to give the medium to longer term strategy on the business. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Good evening. This is George Alexander Muthoot, Managing Director, speaking from head office Cochin. I have along with me our CFO, Mr. Oommen K. Mammen, and also our Chief General Manager, Mr. K.R. Bijimon, and the finance, DGM Finance also with me. And we also have one or two executive directors, Mr. Eapen Alexander, Mr. George M. Alexander, and George M. Jacob also joining in the another on conference with us. So I am happy to present the financials for this quarter and also for the 9 months for Muthoot Finance and its subsidiaries. I think you have all the report, etc., has been uploaded. It is all with you. We are very happy to say that we have crossed the 50,000 crores of loans in the assets under management, even on the standalone Muthoot gold loan business. So we have reached 50,391 for the standalone of Muthoot Finance, and with including the subsidiaries, the assets under management has crossed 55,800. That's a landmark for the company. And also, our consolidated profit after tax has shown a year-on-year increase of 20% to 2,795 crores for this 9 months. And standalone profit has also increased 24% year-on-year to 2,726. The branch network, we have been able to add about 150 branches in the last 1 year. So the branch stands at 5,417 branches. And yes, Muthoot Finance, as I said, has grown by 2,203 crores in this quarter. Muthoot Home Finance, which is a subsidiary which is doing the home finance business, has actually reduced its AUM because we are now we are on lending is little calibrated and cautious. So the repayments are coming, and so the assets under management has actually come down. Muthoot Belstar, which is the microfinance company, is doing very well. We hold a 70% stake in the company. It has grown its portfolio to 2,886 as against last year's 2,285. They have come back to the pre-COVID days of disbursal as well as collections. The collections in Belstar is 98%, and in home finance it is 88.7%. Muthoot Insurance Brokers also is doing well. It has reported a profit of for the 9 months as against 5 crores. It has reported a profit of 12 crores. The Sri Lankan subsidiary Asia Asset Finance, where we hold 72% stake, has increased its loan portfolio to 1,331 crores as against last year's 1,301. But then we have now focusing more on gold loans, and the company is now around 45% of its portfolio is today in gold. And going forward, in the next 2 years, we would like to make it just like Muthoot Finance, 85 to 90% gold loan portfolio, and they are actually on track. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka has given license to open 15 branches. They have already opened 13 branches. So the business there is also, just like Muthoot Finance, is going to be mainly focused on gold finance. Muthoot Money, the vehicle finance company, vehicle finance subsidiary, started in October 2081. The loan portfolio stands at 421 crores as of December. The loan portfolio decreased by 42 crores during this year, because here also we are a little cautious, and calibrated growth or calibrated disbursement only is happening. There the Muthoot Money, the recovery is 83.85%. We would like to add here that we have seen disbursements also going up this quarter, and we have today a active customer base. This is active customer base means customers who are presently having a loan account with us. It has also crossed the 50 lakh customer base. 50 lakh customer base and 50,000 crores is what we have in the gold loan business. We have achieved a growth of 22% gold loan portfolio during the 9 months. Compared to last full year, we had achieved a 22%. So on the higher base, we were able to do a 22% growth, and we expect that by March we should be able to have an AUM growth of 25 to 26%. That is our expectation for the end of the year. The profit also should certainly show improvement. We have an active and inactive very good customer base. Our disbursements for the quarter were focused on new customer additions, fresh loans to active customers and to inactive customers, and top-up loans to the existing customers. We disbursed fresh loans to 3.88 lakh new customers, amounting to 2,796 crores, and inactive customers of 438 lakhs were also given loans of 2,960 crores. Subsidiaries are following a cautious approach, and otherwise the share capital, the net worth has reached 14,178 crores as against last year's similar number of 11,400. So our capital adequacy ratio is today 26.38%, which I think is definitely healthy, and our total weight of gold jewelry is 166 tons. Number of employees continues to be in the 25,000 range, 25,800 versus last year this time of 25,100. So one thing is that we've been able to increase our business, but without actually increasing the proportionate headcount also. So during this quarter also, we had issued public issue of non-convertible debentures. During November 20, we successfully completed our 23rd public issue of non-convertible debentures, raising 2,000 crores. So overall, we see the growth momentum continuing in this next quarter also, and we expect things to be much better going forward also. So thank you, and I think I will end here, and we'll be open for question and answer. Thank you.
Yeah, Aisha, we can start with Q&A.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Sanket Chheda from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Congrats on a strong set of numbers. My question was maybe growth beyond this Q4 going into FY22. Now that we have seen in last 3-4 quarters, particularly our funding profile has become much more conducive to capture growth if the demand is available. So how do you see once we have already utilized the headroom available in the LTV so headroom available in LTV, and I guess the loan per branch is also getting optimized. So how do we see loan growth or AUM growth going into FY22? Do we maintain that it would be easy to grow above 15% on a stable basis? So that's my first question.
Okay, I think I said we will end this year with about 25 to 26% AUM growth. That is for this year. Going forward also, we have always been saying a 15% consistent growth, which we will be able to achieve. And if things are good and okay, we can always do better. 15% growth is something which we should be able to do in the coming years. Your question about branch optimization and the branch level there's nothing like branch optimization. Branch can do 10 crores or 15 crores or 20 crores per branch. That's not an issue at all. So there's nothing like branch optimization, and there is nothing also like LTV headroom. That is for existing customers. So we expect to get new customers to the business. So there is no LTV headroom, etc. But new customers come with new gold, and we should be able to do advances to them. We are seeing new customers. Last quarter also, we saw around 3.88 lakh customers coming and taking 2,700 crores of gold. We see that also. To answer your question finally, instead of 22 and 25%, we should see a 15% consistent growth going forward. If things are good, we can do better. Thank you.
Okay. And so one thing on acquiring new customers, we have been doing quite a lot of things in past few quarters to maybe related to maybe branding of gold loans or maybe gold loans as a substitute to meet the short-term or bridge loan needs. Do we see that yielding fruits now, or which could be an added stimulus to maybe grow further in terms of loan growth as far as the gold AUM is concerned going ahead?
Yeah, marketing, sales, advertisement are continuous efforts. We need to do that to retain our mind share of the customers, and we will continue to do that. And it is not today, advertisement today, we do today, the effect may not come tomorrow. But then on a continuous basis, we always do these advertisements, and I'm sure it is effective, it is useful. We will continue to do that also.
Okay. Sure, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Prashant Sridhar from SBI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. Thanks for taking my question, sir. Could you give us the restructuring number and the 0 plus for the non-gold 3 businesses?
No, we have not initiated any restructuring as of now. No, probably for some segments we are thinking about it, but those are not material at all. Very too small. Because as you know, gold loan constitutes almost like 97% of Muthoot Finance. The rest of the small portfolio is very small.
Sure. Anything on the 0 pluses for the home loan, vehicle, and MFI?
So we said no. The collection efficiency in the home finance is 88%. The microfinance is 98%, and the vehicle finance is 83.8%.
Sure. And lastly, what would be the incremental LTV on whatever gold loans you would have done in the second half of or the last 2 quarters of this year, which is like September and December?
As of December, the LTV is 67% with interest, with accrued interest, and 65% without accrued interest.
Okay. And incrementally, we would be doing it at near about 75, given the competition from banks?
No, it will be incrementally, it should be in the range of, usually what we see is 68 to 70%. Some people take 75, some people take lesser. So incrementally, always it has been 68 to 70%.
Okay. Thank you so much. The stage 3 is including or excluding the Supreme Court's judgment, whatever you've disclosed in the PPT?
Gold loan, there is no Supreme Court.
No, stage 3 is the actual 90-day plus loans.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Subrat Dwivedi from SBI Life Insurance. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for taking my question. So first one was in the vehicle finance and home loans business, the collection efficiency seems to be a bit lower than some of the larger players in those businesses. So is it because of the lower base, these being smaller businesses for you? And second, if you could share the stage 2 numbers for these 2 businesses.
The home loan, the assets on the book is about 1,800 crores, and for Muthoot Money it is 400 crores. The portfolios are very small, so probably I don't know the comparative numbers of the big players and the small players. We feel, I think, industry level it is okay, is what we feel. Probably there may be some companies who may be doing much better than that.
Okay, so and the stage 2 numbers for these 2 businesses?
Right now I don't have the numbers. Probably we can share it separately.
Sure. And I had one more question on slide number 30. You have shown margin on safety, which has kind of been going down from the peak of Q4 and Q1. So that means the LTV would have increased because of higher competition in the segment?
No, the LTV has increased because it is based on today's market price. So the market price,
when the gold price peaked, probably in the first quarter of the current financial year, the average LTV will come lower. So it was only 55%. But the newer loans we always give incremental LTV of maximum 75%. So the newer loans will move towards more towards 75% at the current gold price. So the average LTV tend to increase over a period of time. So that's why the margin of safety on the loans tends to come down. So if you look at if the RBI is allowing 35%, the margin of safety should be only around 25%. But because of the fluctuations in the gold price, the margin of safety sometimes tends to be higher. Sometimes it comes closer to 25%.
But it will never be below 25%.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't hear the last line, sir.
So it should always be below 20 because we don't lend anything more than 75%. So if today the gold price goes up very drastically, gold price goes up, the margin of safety will become, instead of 35, it will become 40.
Right.
It's based on today's price, no?
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Radhika Lohia from Mirae Asset. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening. So 2 questions from my end. First is if you can give some color on your stage 2 assets in gold loan business and the pro forma stage 3 that you're expecting.
Gold loan stage 2, stage 3, I give you the numbers though, but then it is actually irrelevant for this because stage 3 is just loans which have crossed the 90 days, but the gold is the 100% plus gold collateral is with us. So it actually doesn't matter much. But I think the Stage 3 is 1.3%, I think so. So I'll give you the numbers.
Yeah.
But it is irrelevant actually.
So stage 1 is 98.21, stage 2 is 0.48%, stage 3 is 1.3%.
Okay. And the provisions that you have created specifically for stage 3?
Stage 3, it is 73.39 crores.
73.39 crores.
Yes.
Okay. And the incremental yields that you are offering currently?
Incremental?
The yields at which you are offering?
So we have a product bouquet which is ranging from 12% to 24%. The average tends to be somewhere around 22%. Because in our business, the rates quoted is more like an annualized rate. So when you prepay the loan, we give a lot of rebates to the customers, because of which the average tends to be lower.
Okay, right. So that is it from us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Utsav Gogirwar from Investec. Please go ahead.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yeah. So, sir, I have a couple of questions. So, firstly, can you just give some color on the growth, gold growth, say geography-wise? Is it like some of the regions like Maharashtra has done well for us, or some more color on that? Because our performance is very good both on the tonnage and overall gold business in terms of customer addition too. So just wanted to understand what has changed, or just want to understand that part. First question.
No, you wanted to know whether there is growth in Maharashtra.
No, so I just wanted to know if there is any any region has outperformed, or is it the growth what we have seen is a broad based. Just want to have more color on the gold business growth.
More or less uniform. So if you know, the south contributes, the 4 or 5 southern states contributes 49%, and the non-south geographies constitute 51%. I think the northern regions contribute about 23%, west contributes about 19%, and east contributes 9%. I think more or less it remained in the same range.
Okay. And the second question is, so you have mentioned that you have added around 3.88 lakh new customers, right?
Yeah.
So, and the disbursement is around 2750 crore. Is that correct number?
Yeah.
2975 crores.
Yeah, right, correct.
Okay, so average ticket size comes to around 70,000 rupees.
Yes.
So okay. If this calculation is right, then what is so in overall the customer addition? How much is how many customers are more than 5 lakhs ticket size?
I think more than 3 lakh customer base is loan accounts is about 22% of the overall portfolio. More than 3 lakhs. That's the cut I am having right now.
Okay, sure. And just a last question. If I look at the other income, there is some. Is there any one-off? 11 crore which we have for this quarter.
Other income?
Yeah, 11.6 crore. Because usually that is a very negligible amount, but this quarter it's very high on the higher side. So just want to recheck on that part.
11 crores only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing great.
Okay. Sure.
What 11 crores? What is your other income?
Yeah, we can come back to you later on this.
11 crores.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Piran Engineer from Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question and congrats on a great set of numbers. I just have 2 questions first.
Sir, little more louder, please.
Am I audible now?
Yeah. better.
Yeah, firstly, on a prior person's question on GNPL ratio of the subsidiaries. So, have you all taken the Supreme Court dispensation, or have you all not taken it?
So, Case 3 we have announced is the actual 90-day DPD.
Okay. So because it's strange that with a collection efficiency in HFC of 88-89%, your stage 3 has actually improved. And this is also very contrary to what we are seeing for all peers in housing finance and microfinance, where GNPA has actually increased. So any reason for the same?
No, I think the microfinance, we are mainly with the, we have a SH group, self-help group is our microfinance Belstar. So I think 98% of collection efficiency there is mainly because of the SHG group. Okay.
So and in housing finance?
I think the previous somebody was saying ours is much, many others are much better, they said. I don't know.
No, but I mean, if 88% are paying, 12% are not paying, and then some amount will eventually slip into the 90 DPD plus bucket.
Yeah, so if you look at the Muthoot Money, last quarter, second quarter it was 5.12. In Q3 it is 9.24. Of course, the portfolio Muthoot Money has is quite low. It's only around 420 crores. Belstar, however, they have done extremely well, as MD has said. They have done well in terms of the collections. They have increased the portfolio also by about 199 crores.
Yeah, so my question was mainly on the HFC thing. There our NPLs have improved 15-20 bits.
Right. So on the HFC, the numbers, the stage 3 numbers that are shown is after taking the Supreme Court orders. Without taking the Supreme Court orders, the stage 3 assets is 6.81%.
6.81. Okay. That's good to know.
I also just want to clarify that the collection efficiency of 88% is the collection efficiency for the current month EMIs based on the current month EMIs due. So this is without taking any arrear collections. It is just taking into account what is due this month and what has been collected for those dues this month.
Okay, that's good to know. So my second question is mainly on your liability side. In the last 2 quarters, we've raised about 8,000 odd crores. So firstly, why are we carrying so much liquidity on the balance sheet? Just about 6 quarters back, we used to barely have 1,000, 2,000 crores. And secondly, what is the incremental cost of these liabilities that we've raised?
So I think we have discussed in the last con call also. I think we with the current uncertainty and with and the way in which we are planning to grow, I think we should have adequate liquidity available. Second, the RBI regulations also has come in play, for the liquidity coverage. Third, there was always an uncertainty linked to NBFCs and all in terms of liquidity. So we want to protect ourselves in terms of any such risk. So these are the main 3 reasons why we are carrying an on-balance high amount of liquidity. There is always a negative carry in terms of this on-balance sheet liquidity. But going forward, I think we should see that as a normal practice which we should follow.
See, when you said we were carrying only 1,500 crores 1 year back, but then you see last year we grew by 10,000 crores. So if we keep only very little cash balance with us and banks loans or borrowings are not forthcoming, we will have difficulty in growth capital. That is why we are keeping some money with us. So anyway, we are very much aware of that. It is having a negative carry, but then that is going to be part of the game only going forward.
So in FY22, if growth goes back to 14-15%, we will still keep such high levels of liquidity on the balance sheet. Is my understanding correct?
Safer side it is better. Safer side it is better.
Okay. And so what was the incremental cost of funds that we've raised in the last quarter?
I think the average cost is about 8.45. The incremental cost depends on the bank funding. I think it should be somewhere around 8%. On the NCD side, I think it should be somewhere around 7.5%.
Fair enough. That's all from my end. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shweta Daktardar from PL India. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for the opportunity. A couple of questions from my side. So firstly, can you provide color on the increased provisioning run rate for this quarter? So past 2 quarters, we have been putting up around 10 to 15 odd crores. This quarter it's jumped to 59 odd crores. Now, by your commentary and the opening remarks as well, I understand that restructuring will be on the lower side. Although your housing finance GNPA is exclusive of SC orders on the higher side, but again the book is small. So then what are we sensing ahead?
So this quarter we have a higher ECL provisioning. One, as you know, the portfolio has increased considerably in the last 2 quarters. And second thing, of course, there is a churn which happens in the portfolio, so which also has an impact on the ECL provisioning. So these are the 2 reasons why the impairment provisions has gone up. So in the last year it was only 10 crores. This year it is this quarter it is 58 crores. So primarily it is on account of the increase in the AUM.
Okay, so no alarming trend.
To answer your question, we don't see any specific impairment provision. That's all.
Okay. That's good to hear. So secondly, so you partially answered my question to the previous participant. So you are maintaining sizable liquidity on the balance sheet. You plan to maintain that for the growth reasons. So you have been guiding always 14 to 15% growth. You continue to surpass your own guidance. So should we assume now that both your guidance as well as your deliverance on the growth front will be on the higher side for this as well as for next year?
See, we told you we carry this because if we carry very little cash balance and if new funds are not forthcoming, we will not have capital to grow. So we see last year we grew by 10,000 crores. So if next year also similar amount is required, we need to keep some cash with us. If we keep very limited amount of liquidity, probably we'll take care of our liability. But then what happens to the growth capital? So I think going forward we need to keep more and more liquidity with us, although it has a negative carry. I think in the present circumstances, a little negative carry we should be able to afford because that will finally help in our growth only.
So finally, what is the growth target or outlook now?
I thought I shared it initially. We have already grown by 22% this year, so we expect to end the year with 25 to 26% AUM growth. And we have always been saying that we will be doing 15% year on year. We continue to say that for next and coming years we should do 15%. But if things are okay and well, just like current year, we may be able to do better. But our guidance would be minimum 15% growth going forward in the years to come.
Sure. So one last question from my side. What is your branch expansion target? I remember you mentioning you will be closing the year with 100 to 120 incremental addition. So where are we now, and as to how are we closing the year?
Last year we have added 150 branches. In the next year also we should be adding 150 to 200 branches. I think that around 200 branches is our calibrated branch expansion plan.
Sure, sir. That's helpful. Thank you so much, and congratulations on great set of numbers.
Yeah, there was a question on other income. So we just want to clarify that we received some insurance claim that is about 8 crores for some burglary incident happened That is a major reason for the other income. It's a bad debt recovered, and there are certain write-offs which we had done in the past, which we have recovered. So these are the two reasons why there is a higher other income.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ravi Naredi from Naredi Investments. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much to give me chance. Really, it is wonderful working. Sir, one thing, gold loan AUM rises 31.5% in comparison to last December. But profit rises only 20%. So I need your comments on that.
It will take time for the growth to the income from the growth to come, no?
Yeah, I understand. And you are doing a really wonderful business. Since you are in this gold business since long, what you see growth in next few years as maximum banks are going for gold loan and everything. So just I need your view about that.
So, sir, I just last question I just answered that only. We think we should be reasonably able to grow 15% every year. If things are good, just like this year, we may be able to do better. This year, instead of 15, we may end up with 25. But next year onwards, minimum we should be able to grow 15% in spite of competition. Competition is always there, sir, and Muthoot should be able to grow in spite of competition. Otherwise, why are we here?
Yes. And sir, this loan 6,000 crore liquidity you are maintaining, and we can arrange loan at a very low rate when need, because your tenure is less than 1 year. So everyone is happy to give you loan. Then why you are afraid to maintaining such a high amount? That's why my point. Even growth is for growth, we need some capital, and because you can borrow on commercial paper at very low rate.
No, at the end of the day, if you have the money in your hand, that is a different strength we are demonstrating. I cannot explain in words that power one carries.
Okay. All the best, sir, and you are doing wonderful job. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shubhradeep Mitra from UTI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. So just wanted to check on the liquidity only. As I can see, you are carrying almost 8,500 crore of liquidity in the balance sheet. So, sir, over and above that, how much is undrawn bank lines or anything like that you are carrying?
So undrawn lines will be very minimal. If something is rollover is pending, generally we don't keep any undrawn bank limits. Almost all bank limits we would have kept it away, except for those cases where there is some disconnect on interest rates.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And so my next question is on Belstar Microfinance. So, sir, on Belstar, what proportion of your AUM would be in, say, Assam, West Bengal, in those regions?
No, we don't have.
I don't think they have anything in Assam and West Bengal.
Yes, we don't have. West Bengal we have a small, but Assam is not there.
Assam is not there. Yes.
Okay, sure. Thank you, sir. That's all from me.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sayantan Bhaumik from Pine Bridge Investments. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Congratulations on the great set of numbers. I was looking at slide 42 of your presentation where you give the breakup of your expenses. There are quite a few things I wanted to understand from here. If I look at the previous years, you've broken up provisioning into two line items. And one, in the earlier years, it is mentioned as provision for standard assets and NPA assets, and for this year, it is shown as impairment on financial instruments. So, what is the difference between these two line items?
So, from March 18 onwards, we are under Ind AS.
Okay, so that's the only difference.
So the description is different for under Ind AS as well as under the old Indian GAAP.
Okay. So is if I understood correctly from the earlier question, most of the provision of 58 crores for 0.5 crores for this quarter would largely be for standard assets. Is that a fair understanding?
Yeah, that's what we said. 98% of the loan asset is in stage 1, which is the standard assets.
Okay. And some of the other things I was trying to understand. If I look at advertisement publicity for this quarter, it is seems to be lower than the previous quarter. So what is the typical sort of amount of money that we spend here, and then is this quarter a lower number in general, or is this expected to be higher? How does this money get allocated?
No, it is not actually a month-wise, quarter-wise allocation. See, when there is a burst of advertisements in a quarter, the expense goes up. When there's a no burst of advertisements, the expenses come down. So overall in a year is what we generally look at.
Okay. And two other line items here. The legal and professional charges for the 9 months appears higher than last year, and similarly the others in the other expenses also appears significantly higher than last year. So if you could just help me understand these two, if there is some change or something has.
So legal and professional charges. We engage consultants for various activities. So that is the main reason why the legal and professional charges are higher. I think whenever there is more activity, these are part of the normal business activity. Others,
compliance costs are also high.
Yeah, the compliance costs.
Compliance costs are also high. Every day, the regulator says you do that certification, this certification. Nothing comes cheap.
Okay.
So the others include all the CSR expenses, all those expenses. So it is not materially different.
Okay. And lastly, if you can give some details about how our online spending and then how that has worked, how the digital and online gold loans portfolio is doing, and then what is our thought process there?
See, digital gold loan is digital transactions on the gold loan. You can't take a gold loan digitally.
Sure.
You have to bring the gold to the branch. You have to bring the gold to the branch, and you have to take it out from the branch also. Otherwise, we have to go to the customer's house and collect it.
Yes, that's what I was trying to ask about. I mean, what proportion of our loans would be, where we are going? I understand we're doing it on a lower scale, but if you can just give some idea to how that business.
It is only for selected customers who ask for it, and there is a charge also for that.
Okay.
Because our person has to go there. He has to take all the safety, security precautions. Somebody has to go and test and check the gold. So it's not that easy also.
Okay. So are we? Do we expect to increase this, or it's more based on customer demand?
No, based on customer demand. So it is something which we offer. If customer insists, we can offer. Otherwise, customer is always free to come. But generally, what we are seeing is 99% of the customers are more comfortable bringing the gold to the branch and taking it away from the branch.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for and then congratulations again on the great set of numbers.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Aviral Jain from Singular Gulf. Please go ahead. We move to the next question, which is from the line of Pratik Kothari from Unique Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity, sir. So my question, we discussed partly earlier regarding competition from banks. If you can just talk about, because SBI also recently talked about how in 6 months they increased their gold loan book from 4,000-5,000 crores to 20,000 crores. So are you seeing any increased competition? Any pressure on the yield, etc., that we make out of it?
From our balance sheet, from our P&L also, you will have seen that there has not been any pressure on the yield. So on the yield, there has been no pressure. But on the growth also, we have been able to grow sufficiently what we wanted. So, of course, there is competition. It only means that more and more people are getting attracted to this gold loan business. It's not that somebody is taking away our customers or we are taking away somebody else's customers. The market is large, market is big. More and more people are getting, are availing, are using this opportunity or this method of financing. That is what is happening. That is what we see in this. Of course, it's not competition. It's not somebody, there is only an X amount of business there and it is being taken away by large number of people. No, the total gold available, etc., is so high, but it is only people thinking that yes, I will also take a gold loan. If everybody has gold loan, probably you also have gold with you, but you may not be thinking of taking a gold loan. After some time, you may think of a gold loan. So then you may use that as a means of finance. That is what is happening now. So because all the banks, big banks, maybe new generation, old generation banks, etc., are actively advertising about gold loan, more and more new customers are also taking gold loan.
Mm-hmm. So what you mean is the customer base itself is expanding rapidly?
Yeah. Exactly.
Fair enough. And so secondly, I would like to comment on the liability side. Our commercial paper share, which used to be 18-20% of the borrowings, has come down to 10%. And given that our gold loan book, 65-66% of the book is repaid in 6 months' time. So how would this CP share move? I mean, why have we brought it down, and just your comments on the thing? Only reason being that our asset side is, I mean, it's very low tenure.
I think 10% of the total liability means is a fair number, to manage, because though on the individual assets duration is quite short, at the balance sheet level we are not degrowing. In case of a stress, we can always liquidate the assets and repay the liability, but that is not the intention. On a regular basis, we want to grow our balance sheet at a regular pace. So we intend to keep majority of our borrowings for a long term. So the CPs, I think we should restrict it to around 10% of the total liabilities.
No, fair enough, sir. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Gaurav Kochar from Mirae Asset. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, sir, and thanks for taking my question. My first question is regarding the incremental cost of funds. So on a blended basis, what is our incremental cost of funds?
I think it will be more closer to 8%. Will be the incremental cost of borrowing blended.
Okay. And the liabilities which are coming for repricing in the next 6 months or 12 months, if you have that number handy, the quantum and the rate at which they will be coming for repricing.
See, CPs we generally take it for a period of 3 months. So every month we have about 1,500 crores of CPs maturing, and CP rates are somewhere around 3.5 to 4%. Apart from that, we have this loans taken from banks as a short-term loans, which again comes for maturity, and then there is a repricing which happens. So that also is around 1,500 crores in a month. So roughly around 3,000 crores comes up for maturity every month, which gets rolled over.
Okay. So the repricing happens on a monthly basis.
So every month it happens. Okay. That is about 1,500 crores on the bank limit side and the 1,500 crores on the CP side.
Sure. And on the NCD?
NCDs and maturities are quite less. If I remember correct, roughly it will be about 100-200 crores in a month.
Okay. So, and the weighted average cost would be higher, much higher.
Sorry?
The weighted average cost on the existing NCDs would be much higher.
So the NCDs which is raised in the past, maybe 1.5 years back, it is higher. The NCDs which we raised in the recent past, it's around 7.5%.
Okay, got it. Sure. Just wanted your thoughts on the platforms where like Rupeek, banks have been tying up with them for their loan book, for their gold loan portfolio. What are your thoughts and how does it impact our portfolio?
Sorry,
I didn't understand. What is it?
Rupeek, as a platform player, banks have been partnering with them for increasing their gold loan portfolio. Your thoughts on this and probably how is that impacting our portfolio?
Actually, okay, fine. Probably people who do not have the customer base and customer contact, customer affinities are the people who need intermediaries. So for us, we don't have any intermediaries. All our business is direct. Customers come to us directly. So we don't need such intermediaries for our business growth. So probably some other institutions, banks or others who need intermediaries may be using them.
Okay. In the longer term, sir, if this partnership evolves, do you see any risk to our portfolio from a longer term perspective?
There won't be any risk to our portfolio. There can only be risk to their portfolio if you engage that party.
Okay, sure. The last question is on growth. I understand you guided for around 15% growth, but given that our LTVs have already touched around 67%, what portion of this 15% assumption includes inflation in gold prices, and how much of it is through, say, customer addition or tonnage growth?
Somebody else asked the same question earlier. I think he gave the same answer also.
See, our growth is not, we have different modes of increasing the portfolio. I think slide 30 explains that. We have new customers, existing customers taking a loan. So, a top-up loan is one of the modes for increasing the loan portfolio.
Right.
So we don't project or internally project that no gold price should increase for us to achieve this level. This 15% growth is something we want to achieve at a stable gold price.
Okay, sure. All right, so that's it from my side. Thank you, and all the best.
The next question is from the line of Vikram Subramanian from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi, sir. I got a bit of a bad connection, so sorry if I'm repeating this question. On the Supreme Court dispensation for GNPA, I didn't quite catch it. I know you are already explaining that. Is this stage 3 with or without the GNPA standstill?
Participants, the line for the management got disconnected. We would request you to please stay connected while we join them back in the call. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the management reconnected, so you can go ahead, please. Vikram, would you like to repeat your question?
Yeah, so I was asking, have we, the 1.3% stage 3, is it with or without the Supreme Court standstill? So I lost a bit of what you said to a previous participant on the same. I just wanted to get that clarified.
So the stage 3 of 1.3% is the actual 90-day DPD. The stage 3 doesn't include the Supreme Court order.
So we have not availed that at all? Have we decided not to avail it? Or?
So that we have all, disclosed in our notes to the financial results. However, for provisioning purposes, we are taking the actual 90-day DPD.
Okay, got it. And one more question. So, for the higher provisions that have been done this quarter, you had explained something about the customer churn impacting ECL calculation. Could you please explain how customer churn impacts PD and LTVs?
So it is not a change in PD and LGD. It is the portfolio which is classified under each bucket. And as you know, the ECL provision is made on the principal amount plus the interest accrued. So if the older loan accounts gets repaid, to that extent interest gets collected. Only the new loans, only the principal amount is there. So that is the reason why we said no. It also depends on the churn. The primary reason why the provisions have increased is because of the increase in the overall AUM.
Standard provision.
Standard provisions, and primarily it consists of the standard provision.
Okay, got it. So basically it's growth driven. And just finally, you explained other income is because of insurance claims. Quickly, if you could please explain how insurance claims work on any theft of gold. Do we get the entire gold lost value as insurance claim, and how do we finally settle it to the customer whose gold has been stolen?
So if the gold is stolen, the customer gets settled in next 3 months. So we give him either equivalent gold. Equivalent gold is purchased and given him, or equivalent ornament is purchased and given him, and that time it is charged as an expenditure. So whenever we receive an insurance claim or whenever we receive gold, sometimes we receive back gold which is kept with the police also. Whenever we receive that, it is taken as an income, as other income. So in this case, the insurance claim was received, so it is kept in other income. The contra customer payment, customer replacement of gold has happened much earlier, and we have booked that as an expense.
Okay, but the claim to us is complete, so there is net loss from the entire theft proceeds.
Definitely there will be loss. If you have got 8 crores of claim, our loss would have been 10 or 11 crores, because there is always card put in insurance. That is not there. Not there. 5%, 2%, 8% you are getting. We are lucky. 8 crores we are getting. We are lucky.
Okay. Thanks, sir. That's it.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Prashant Sridhar from SBI Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry sir, just one other question. On the gold loan portfolio, what percentage would have a maximum tenor of 1 year?
Almost entire
portfolio is 1 year tenor only.
Okay, we've shifted away from the 9 months. Okay. And you said 22% would be above 5 lakhs.
Sorry, come again?
Above 3 lakhs is 22% is above 3 lakhs.
Above 3 lakhs. 22% is above 3 lakhs.
Above 3 lakhs. Okay. Thank you so much. Just wanted to clarify.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nischint Chawathe from Kotak Securities Limited. Please go ahead.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, Nischint.
I just wanted to understand a little bit, on your cost control efforts. Just wondering as to where does your full year, or maybe over the next 1 or 2 years, does your cost to income or cost to assets ratio really settle down? Because you've shown a marked improvement in this quarter and even for the last 9 months. So do you think that sustains, or maybe as or does it really pick up over the next couple of quarters?
See, cost is definitely not going to come down. Cost will only increase, because there is always inflation in India, inflation with respect to rent, inflation with respect to salary. So all those will always be there. So I think we should not dwell most on this cost business, because we are also a little tight-fisted everywhere and otherwise also. So we will keep it in check only, but don't expect the cost to come down drastically. I don't think in Indian circumstances such costs etc. will come down.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shantanu Chakrabarti from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, first of all, congratulations for being on course to clock 25% growth in such a year, that too with a high 20s ROE. you have highlighted on the call multiple times that 15% steady state growth is something that you feel assured about in promising over the next few years. I just wanted to get a sense of a sensitivity around that. Let's assume a scenario where, let's say, gold prices are down the average for the year about 10% next year. And let's say the rest of the Indian credit ecosystem, which has some parts of which might be substitute competitors for your product, that also registers high teens kind of credit growth. Under such a scenario, would you still be able to deliver 15? I'm just trying to understand the robustness of the 15 numbers so that I can understand what a more realistic growth can be and how much north of 15 it can.
See, we are there to grow the business under different circumstances with the gold price and the customer competition and whatever doomsday. So it is our job that we should grow at least 15%. I think we should be able to do that. Now, to tell you whether if the gold price falls 10%, 15%, if the competition hots up and if the economy also is not growing, all those negative.
So let's assume, sir, the economy is growing and credit is also growing across the world.
I think we should be able to do that. Yes.
And the second question, sir, I had is a more qualitative one. So in 9 months, you have adapted so well to doing business under full and partial loans. New initiatives have been launched. So in this period, have you seen any incremental shift in customer mix, either in terms of how quickly they are repaying or ticket sizes? Any color around that? Any specific trends that stick out?
Because of the gold price increase, we have seen the average ticket size go up from about 35,000 to 50,000. That is all what we have seen. Otherwise, we have not seen anything else in that. Or whether people are repaying earlier. No, even otherwise, the average tenure was 3 to 4 months. I think it still continues to be that only.
Right. Thank you. Those are my 2 questions. And congratulations once again.
Thank you, Sardanu.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Nirmal Bari from Samiksha Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my questions. First, a couple of clarifications. When you say that 22% of the customers have more than 3 lakh rupees of loan, is that by number of customers or is that by the loan book?
Loan number. I don't have the customer-wise breakup.
Okay, that's by loan book, right? And the second one is if you can give the stage 3 provision number for this quarter and previous quarter in the standalone book.
Stage 3.
So what we have in the presentation is the total ECL provision.
Yeah. So ECL provision stage 3 for the current quarter is 73 crores. Previous quarter it is 59 crores.
Okay. And now looking at the loan book, since a couple years back we were looking at diversifying it into home finance and vehicle finance and all, but things have panned out differently. So now if we look at growth from the next 3 to 5 year perspective, what would be the mix like? You have said that the gold loan book should continue to grow at 15%, but what would be the consolidated loan book mix be like between gold loans and non-gold loans?
See, today the home finance, the vehicle finance, etc. is not doing well. It doesn't mean that it will not do well forever. It is just a change. So maybe after a year or so, things will change, and then that business, definitely those businesses have potential, and we always have started this with saying synergy of that business with our customers. So we see the Muthoot Gold Loan customers being able to generate leads for these businesses. That is why we started these also. So not that this is the end of the story for vehicle finance and affordable home finance. There is growth there. It will take some time. So today, if you ask today, this is not the right time for that. But if you ask me whether this business is gone forever, never. Probably after some quarters, 3, 4, 5 or 6 quarters, things will bounce back, and we'll be ready for that. So at that time, we will start growing that book more aggressively. But today, we would like to grow the gold loan book.
Okay. And one last question on the employee cost side. So the employee cost came down quarter on quarter despite the loan book growing. So was the variable pay postponed, as in will the variable pay be coming in the current quarter, or what was the reason for that marginal decline?
No, that is probably because of the variable pay, impact of the variable pay. Of course, you know that in the second quarter we had a 14% growth. So in third quarter it is only 7% growth. So that plays a role in the fixing the.
Your question, the variable pay is paid quarterly.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Thanks. My questions have been answered.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Meghna Luthra from Daiwa Capital Markets. Please go ahead.
Hello. Thank you, sir. So I just had a couple of questions. Can you please give a breakdown of the customers into what percentage are traders, small businesses, agri, non-agri related, or any other segments?
Madam, the point is that generally we don't go very deep into what the customer is doing, etc. Because this is a very quick loan, 5-minute, 10-minute loan. We don't delve deep into what he is doing, why he is doing, etc. But we get a general sense from our managers that what are these people. That is what only I can share now. Because if I ask a customer, he'll say business. What business? Anything is a business. So probably if I ask more and more, then they will get annoyed also. So we don't do that because it is not going to affect his loan or his portfolio or his repayment or his interest cost. Nothing is going to be affected by his profession or his business, etc. But then the general sense we get from our managers and staff who deal with these customers is that a good percent of these are small traders, small business, small shopkeepers are our main customer base for this. And probably in rural areas, some agriculturalists also will be there. But it is not that the agricultural is taking it to buy fertilizer and seeds, etc. because we give only money. He can use it for anything. So that is the difference. But then generally it is small traders, small businessmen, shopkeepers, etc. are our mainstay.
Okay, sir. And what would be your active and inactive total customer base, since you mentioned that majority of the customers are repeat customers?
Yeah, I think a general sense. So as of today, the loan book which we have, those active customers mean those who are today having a loan account with us is about 50 lakh. So the customers who would have been active with us, if you look at about last 2.5 years, etc., it should be in the region of 2 crores. So they will come. Today they will come. After 6 months they may come. After 9 months they may come. After 2 months they may come. So they have transacted with us in the last 2 years, should be in the range of 4 times that is about 2 crores. And from those is what customers are new customers coming again for a new loan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, sir. And the last question, at what rate do you create a standard asset provision on the incremental lending?
So on S1 we make a provision of 1.09%.
Okay.
Regulation is 0.4.
No, so
Yeah.
that is under earlier RBI guidelines. Now it is under Ind AS.
Oh, today Ind AS. Okay, sorry.
Okay, sir. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you. Due to time constraints, that was the last question. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Kunal Shah for closing comments.
Entire senior management team of Muthoot Finance for sharing your perspective and answering all the questions patiently. And thanks everyone for participating on the call. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you from our side also. Thank you, Kunal. Thank you, team.
Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of ICICI Securities Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.